this oldies but goodies. Man, that is some good music. That is some good music, and it comes on, I believe, after 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. And boy, I tell you, it's nothing like a song to remind you of a time period in your life. And so we recommend that you do that on WOLB Baltimore. Incredible show for you. First of all, please welcome my co-host, the work soldier of Baltimore and in life, his whole life. Please welcome Leo Burrows Jr. How are you today this morning, sir? Leo? Oh, wait a minute, hold on. There you go, there you go.
Justice, decency, and fair play.
Come again. I stuck my finger in the wrong hole again, but come.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And praise the Lord and pass the ammunition for justice, decency, and fair play.
Yes, sir. That is our intent and that is our purpose. Hopefully, we cannot teach you anything here. We only hope to make you think and maybe rethink your positions, and we can find a way to build a consensus to do what we need to do in our city, our beautiful, beautiful city. This is a beautiful city, and we're in a lot of trouble, and it seems we're always in a lot of trouble, and so we are thankful for the opportunity to come to you and to discuss it and see what we can do as a people to make it better for the common health and commonwealth. Please say hello to my producer and co-host, Mr. Jason Rodriguez. How are you today, Jay?
Good morning, family. Peace and blessings. Just want to remind everyone we are now streaming live on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube Live. So you'll have a chance to be able to see everyone in studio, including Patrick Henderson in all of his glory this morning.
Oh, God is good. God is good on each and every one of us. We're all walking in the glory of God. We woke up this morning, got up out of that bed, went and washed it up, put on something we wanted to wear, maybe got our coffee, and when it was set out for on our day, we must be thankful. We must show gratitude. And if it's no more than looking up at the sky, or how beautiful and green, we had to go through the rain to get all this greenery around here. So it just lets us know that even the rain is here for a purpose, as we are here for a purpose. Well, as many of you know, we are having a deluge of violence and gun violence here in the city. And right now we're rated the most violent city in the United States of America, which I find troubling. I was listening to Larry Young's show this morning. It was a great show. And all of the ideals and all of the suppositions in some ways that people think that for things that we need to do, they feel that would change things. Some of them were good. Some of them we've heard before. But was there anything that should call us to action? And I believe there were several things that we should be aware of. Leo, you've been here most of your life. You're a native-born Baltimorean, am I correct?
Correct.
And you have seen many, many changes and revolutions and evolutions here in the city. If you were to surmise the state of the city at this point, or how would you frame it? Would it be the lack of administration from elected officials, or the fact that there's a policeman who makes more than any official in the city? An police officer makes more than the mayor. And the overtime pay is just ridiculous, but the crime is not slowing down. But yet we're paying all of this overtime. Whoa, please, and I want to go. Well, before you do that, I want to open up the lines, because today is going to be people talk. 410-481-1010. 410-481-1010. Call us with your ideas. Call us with your solutions. We know what the problems are. Put on your thinking cap. Put on your thinking cap and just think, what would be the most relative things you feel we could do at this point to change the course of our city. Leo, please come forth.
Well, I wish I could snap my fingers. I can't, but I can share the wisdom that God has given me, and I know that folks get tired of criticism. I think constructive criticism is warranted insofar as our leadership is concerned, and I would hope that there will be a continuing effort to unify leadership, both in terms of the politics, the clergy, the churches, the fraternities, the sororities, etc. I'm noting that, to be specific, I heard Doc Cheatham this morning. I heard
Yes.
Brother say cool. Mm-hmm. I heard a number of people, from a fellow from Sandtown, people who have solutions and have ideas, and they put them on the table before, and they have not been acted on. So let me be specific. Sheriff John Henderson has been sheriff many, many years, heading our sheriff's department. They talked about the Southwestern Police District, the Western Police District, and the Southern District as areas of the city where the violence is preeminent. We've got violence all over the city, but we have a higher concentration of homicides in those districts. Mm-hmm. And we hear the discussions about the building trades, the apprenticeship and job training programs that are not out there that are needed, where we can place and train people and offer them an alternative to violence. One of the things that people, most of the victims of violent crime are black men below the age of 40 who don't have gainful employment. They don't own their own businesses. They have no jobs, whether it be because they can't qualify, whether they're undereducated, whether they've served time and are not being given a second chance, although they want a second chance. We've got to concentrate our efforts in that regard. And I said this morning on air, I'd like to see at least an hour in programming given to the mayor so that she can talk directly to the people, get the input from the people. Hopefully it's not just word of mouth, but it's in writing as to what they want to happen at the level, at the mayor's office. Also, the president of city council, Bernard Jack Young, same thing. I don't want them all in the same room at the same time. Let's have separate days for Bernard Jack Young and a separate day for Sheriff John Anderson, because he has people who are not on duty at the courthouse on Saturdays and Sundays, for example. Mm-hmm. And some of those people can be utilized in a crime-fighting strategy, although there are people who are telling me that the sheriff doesn't belong in that arena, that all he does is serve warrants, the warrant apprehension task force, da-da-da-da. I don't believe that. These are trained men of law. Many of these sheriff deputies are retired police officers or have also have served as police officers for various jurisdictions, including Baltimore City. So to begin with, I know I'm bouncing around a bit and I'll come back home, but Richard Terry had offered up quite some time ago, and he's offered up a lot of good things, and he's an expert.
Yes, he is.
In this regard.
Richard
and he's
Terry,
been on your show. He's been on Larry's show.
And Richard Terry is?
Richard Terry is, for one thing, he's the chair of the Community Policing Committee for Roots of Scouting, but in addition to that, he is a professional who has trained law enforcement at various city colleges and universities. He has headed up the auxiliary police of Baltimore City in the late 80s and early 90s. And we had at one time more than 100 auxiliary police officers. They wore a uniform. They didn't carry guns. They had walkie-talkies. They had batons, mace, so forth. But they worked diligently, neighborhood by neighborhood, in augmenting the services of community and police protection in our neighborhoods. By the way, auxiliary police are called for. I can't quote the exact statute, but within the city charter calls for the existence of an auxiliary police And we've allowed this now to, our police, auxiliary police now may number 4, maybe 6 people, and that's a travesty. Mm-hmm. So again, here's a man who's qualified, who's made recommendations on bringing back, strengthening, mobilizing, once again, auxiliary police. Not the least of which, we're told that the Baltimore City Police Department are 300 or more than 300 officers short in terms of their ability to patrol neighborhoods. And we know they give priority to neighborhoods that are not black and that are safe. That's why they're under consent decree, because for years they didn't do the right thing. Mm-hmm. So let's get Gary Tuggle out here so he can ask questions. Don't softball it. Gary Tuggle is the acting commissioner. Let's get our officials out and let's get some written dialogue and verbal dialogue. How do we change this dynamic? Because, Patrick, we keep going over the same things over and over, and the suggestions of the community are not being acted upon. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Folks are not responding to these, what I consider to be good ideas. The Shake and Bake Family Fun Center. Well, they reopened it, but they didn't reopen it in terms of where it wasn't fully staffed. We got the roller rink or roller skating up and running. Mm-hmm. But what about the other parts of Shake and Bake, the bowling alley, all the things that Shake and Bake Family Fun Center used to have? They don't have it. So if you've got money, Madam Mayor Catherine Pugh, if you've got money for a parade, not taking away anything from Ray Lewis, mm-hmm. but if you can put on a parade with all the hoopla, then let's thread the needle of how the parade and the public relations that flows therefrom will trickle down or interact with the grassroots initiatives that have to be taken in order to ensure that our city has a true one Baltimore renaissance mm-hmm, mm-hmm. in terms of making life better for all of us. Yes. And I don't see that kind of threading the needle and interaction. I know we all of us ego trip to a certain extent, but I just don't see the consistency and the commitment to doing anything other than a wringing of hands and a crying about the death rate. But I don't see that you're involving people who have the solutions, who are ex-offenders, etc., who are on the ground, it has been documented over a number of years are doing constructive efforts, constructive works here, and they're not either being funded, they're not being supported, mm-hmm. they're not being listened to mm-hmm. by the administration. What are the churches doing? Let's call them out as well. Some of them are doing something, some of them are doing nothing. Mm-hmm. You have to have a street ministry. You can't just come to worship on Sunday, which is great for many, but do you have any people in your church who are able-bodied, respective churches, who can get out on the streets and provide direction and can mentor our children, whether they be in school or not in school?
This is interesting that you brought this up. I was driving here this morning, and in my neighborhood, there's a constant deluge of Jehovah's Witnesses on the streets, and they're there early in the morning, and they're always in Ashburton. They're always in that area. I don't know if it's because of the socioeconomic environment. They want tithers, I suppose, for their organization, and that's mm-hmm. not disparaging. But my point is that these are elderly people. These are not spring chickens. These are elderly people. For some reason, it has been instilled in them that it is important for them to win people to their religion. They do live longer. They have great dietary habits, and they don't smoke or drink or anything. But they are diligent. What is proselytizers? That's the word, proselyte. They proselytize, trying to get folks up in the Jehovah's Witness faith. And so, but when we go to our churches, everybody, a lot of the people are just, especially the elderly people, have lived their lives, and now they just really want to be prepared to get into heaven. So they don't think about the community. Some of them have had to raise their grandbabies and their great-grandbabies, and they're tired. And understand, most of them have lived through hell. If you're black and you're in America, there's not been a flowering beds of ease here in this nation for our people. We know that. So I don't know if the church is going to be the answer, because the church is losing 77% of the American people, according to the Pew Research polling company. 77% of American people say that the church and religion is losing its influence. And after Trump was elected and the evangelicals voted for him and for him in majority, religion is just losing not only its influence but its credibility. And that's a big problem for America if a nation is supposed to be one nation under God. That's not seemingly the way that it's going these days. Go ahead.
Well, let me make this observation with regard to churches. All churches are not failing. That's not what I'm saying. Some churches are dying because they don't recruit younger people to take over the reins of positivity that they espouse. In other words, your church dies if you have no plan to recruit young people with an activist agenda to aid their growth and development and aid the growth and development of the community. So I'm not going to indict all churches. I'm only saying that when it comes to fraternities, sororities, and churches, community organizations, block clubs, there has to be a delineation as to your goals, objectives, and timetable for achieving those goals and objectives, what works and what doesn't work. Mm-hmm. One last thing I want to leave you with, and I'll hang on for a half hour or so, but Mike Bush, and this may seem off the chart, but Mike Bush is the Speaker of the House of Delegates in Annapolis, of the House of Delegates.
Isn't he in the hospital? Did he just have bypass surgery?
Well, that's what I want to say. 8 months ago, he had a liver transplant, got a new liver. Then he had triple bypass surgery here within the last week, 2 weeks, and he's reportedly recovering. He is the longest-serving Speaker of the House of Delegates in the history of the state of Maryland. And his compatriot, Mike Miller, is the president of the state Senate, and he is the longest-serving president of the state Senate, they having named a Senate office building in Annapolis after him. What am I trying to say? Those of us who continue to ego trip, and I'm not wishing ill or bad on anyone, but we've got to understand there's a time to live, there's a time to die, and there's a time to bring forth new leadership. And we've got to make a conscious effort, politically, religiously, community-wise, to bring forth leaders who we mentor, who are going to take our place, knowing that at some point in time, all of us are going to transition. All of us are going to die insofar as the flesh is concerned. And some of us aren't doing that. These people in Annapolis, we don't have term limits in our city, council, state, and only at the governor's level and the level of the president of the United States are there term limits. Killing us is we got 30, 40, 50 years. They're dying. They want to die in office. And I don't want them to die in office. I want us to set in place, in motion, those kinds of processes that ensure a transition of leadership. For younger people, they should have their day in the and we should be dying in office, whether we're paid politicians or whether we're volunteer community leaders. It shouldn't be that way.
Listen.
So I'm going to hold on and let there be questions if there be any.
Okay, can we lock him in, Jason? Lock him in for me, and we're going to go to Gene. Gene, welcome. How are you today, sir? You have a question or comment?
I have a comment, Patrick, in reply to what Leo was talking about, and how it impacts me. What Leo usually talks about. Okay, my background is in banking, so the institutions that he talked about we talk about financial solution, for the community, but banking and money, and so let me give you an example. If you would, Patrick, write this down so you could, prove me right or wrong.
Okay.
So I hear Dwight Pettit has a book, right?
Yes, an excellent book.
The young man who was on color law, and then the young man earlier, the pastor comes on. He has a book. He's a psychologist, and he has a book that he's selling for the solution. So this is what I did when I worked. I would come into your business. I was a business. Business development person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would come in and I would make an evaluation of your business. I needed 2 pieces of information. Know what you sell and how much it costs and how many of them you sell.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, the White Pettit has a book.
Yes.
If his book costs $20 and he sells 250 of them,
mm-hmm.
that's 20 times 250.
Mm-hmm.
He sells in a month 5,000. Right?
Right.
And then if you multiply that times 52 weeks, he sells $260,000 worth of books.
Mm-hmm.
Real simple.
Mm-hmm.
Carlton Douglas, he's a funeral director.
Yes.
If he buries 2 people
mm-hmm.
at $10,000 each, that's $20,000
mm-hmm.
times 52 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's $1,400,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much money they potentially can make. I don't know if that's the numbers that they do, but any child who's in school and you want to inspire them to read,
mm-hmm.
write, and do arithmetic,
mm-hmm.
this is the inspiration for them, I think, is that this is the potential income that you can make if you're educated. That's all I have to say. That's the numbers. That's how you do it. So if I talk to anybody, and usually when I talk to people, I'm just talking to them in general conversation. What do you do? What's your average price of what you sell, and how many do you sell? And with that basic formula, you can tell how much a person makes a year.
Right. But I hear you, Gene, and that is my mantra to the children. The more you know, the more you get paid.
Exactly. And the better your life is going to be, everything.
Exactly.
So, God bless Leo. Leo's talking about, people learning trades, etc. I don't care what business you're in. My job was to come in and tell you that you can make 10% more money by doing what I sell.
Well,
and that was a basic credit card machine.
Well, but check this out, and I hear you. I did a stamp machine one time, and I was really surprised at the amount of income I generated. Yeah, generated
How
just from
the bottom line going to be affected?
Yeah, exactly. But the one thing that we are not aware of the need of is the need for residual income. And residual. That's an income, many income streams.
Yeah, but Patrick, I think we are agreeing that we can improve our lives with a residual income.
Yes.
More information about how we can make day-to-day assessments on whether we're doing well or not during any course of the day. And these are just basic skills that you know what I mean. These are basic financial skills that anybody who runs a household or business needs. Our community needs this information. So, like I said, let's put that information. If you know how much something costs, you know how many they sell, multiply it, and then multiply it times 52, and you know exactly what your potential.
Well, all right. I thank you, Gene. That's just really it's just simple as 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
But see, there is a problem. And I'm going to talk about the problem, why it is so far away from it, even though it's so simple.
Simple, yep.
Right there in our eyes, in our hands. I'm going to talk about why I believe it is so. So hang on, don't you go nowhere. If you want to call me back after I read this, you're going to be welcome to do so.
Okay, thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too, my friend. We have another call coming in. While I'm waiting for that call to come in, this is an article I wrote, and I call children, little adults in training. If we blame the children for the present state, for their present state, let me see here, let me get rid of that. Why am I hearing that noise? If we blame the children, for their present state of being and not think to ask how they got there, we do the children a great disservice. Why are you bringing this up, Patrick? Because I don't believe that anything is going to change until we start to look at our children and each other differently. The way we talk to each other, the way we treat one another, the way we let our little petty jealousies and envies color the way we interact with each other. We got to ask how we've gotten this present state. We do the children a great disservice if we don't. We cannot overlook the parents, because every facet of a child's life is under the guidance and early influences of the parent. Yet I find in my community there's a consistently missing link. Many of these young parents were children during the crack epidemic. They didn't get wholeness or care. They didn't see it or nurture, and very little attention. The media would have us believe that if the majority of black that would have us believe that the majority of black people live in poverty. That is a lie. Only 27% of black people live in poverty. Poverty, I believe, though, is a mentality, as I have known millionaires who never escaped the ravages of poverty on their psyche. But when you add drug addiction to the poverty mentality, the effects can cripple a whole generation. It's difficult to repeat what you have not seen or have not experienced. And many Gen Xers didn't know how to parent. So that 27% who live in poverty have placed their children. All right, you're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. Don't touch that dial.
1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
Welcome back. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WLB. I'm talking about what I believe is the missing link, and I want your input on this. I'm going to be through with it in just a second. The Gen Xers didn't know how to parent, so that 20% who live in poverty have placed their children in our hands as teachers and mentors. But we cannot help the children without a clear understanding of what the situation is. I heard a gentleman this morning on Larry Young's show hit it right on the nail head. He said people raise these children up to 6 years old, and they send them to school. And the kids coming there with all the baggage, all the lack of attention, all of the neglect that they've had. Then they go to school, and the kid is angry because he wants attention. So he goes to school, and we expect teachers to unload that kid of all that baggage he's bringing into class. And when they start to unload it, that kid goes back to that same house every day. I don't know who the gentleman was who said it, but this is my premise also. We are going to have to work on change from the root. We can no longer believe that what we are doing is the correct way to raise children. We're going to say, oh, well, Brother Patrick, I turned out all right. Well, maybe you did. But what did you want to be when you were a child? Did you grow up to be who you wanted to be? All your dreams, did they get dashed because your spirit was broken? No encouragement. Nobody saying, you can do that. I love you. I believe you can do anything. How many of us didn't get that? And some of us who got it and still went the other way. I know it's a catch-22 sometimes. But I tell you what.
Patrick?
Yes?
I wanted to add something, if I might.
Go right ahead.
I hope that we're consciously, those of us who say we're adults, whether we act like adults or not, if we're, whatever that means, you're over 18, you're over 20, those of us who feel as though we've made it, whether we have a college degree or not, or 2 degrees or advanced degrees, or whether we call ourselves doctors, honorary or otherwise, I hope we're making a conscious effort to give back to the extent that we each and every week to volunteer our time to do something of a constructive nature to help people who we identify as underachievers to come along our road, whether they accept our job, career aspirations or not. To what extent, and that's a challenge, obviously, do we give back to people who we adjudge to be poor? I remember in the 1940s, 1950s, I can't go back too far in the 40s because I was born in 42. But I remember the 1950s, we had more of a village concept in this Baltimore City. We didn't have as many folks in the 50s who had moved to Randallstown or who had moved out of the city to what they call suburbs. Mm-hmm. And all I'm saying is no matter where you live, wherever you move, give back and come back.
Yes, Leo,
To
but
the
I
extent-
know that's what we say all the time, but I'm
To the-
telling you, but listen to me, please, and we talked about this earlier. See, the one thing that we don't understand is when I got weeds in my yard, dandelions in my garden, I put a weed killer in there. I don't worry about somebody coming in there maybe putting something in there they think gonna do it. I know what's gonna get rid of my weeds. And I do not fool myself and tell myself anything else is going to work. And we can talk about what we're going to do, but until we get at the root of the matter, starting in our homes, nothing is going to change because we're repeating what parents have seen without reevaluating what the situation is and where the situation is, and are we getting the results we need? I agree with you. A child without a mentor is like an explorer without a map. I understand that.
And the children without parents are children without parents. And unfortunately, we have allowed the tablets, the video games, and the technology sometimes to raise our children. The parent has become the tablet, has become the smartphone, has become social media. We've got to be mindful and guarding as we mentor young folks and help them to become effective parents.
But let's talk about, I agree, but let's talk about why that kid is on that computer. What do we do when they're born? We park them in the front of a television to babysit them. Okay, and they say that is the worst thing you can do, and it messes with their minds because every scene on television, every 5 seconds, it flicks. So you got a child sitting there who can't follow a train of thought because every 5 seconds there's a new frame coming on the television. So then we don't want to talk to the kid. We don't want to spend time with them, engaging them. So what do? We buy them computer games. So we cannot just say that the computers are the culprits. We got to realize that we have used this technology to babysit and to neglect our children.
I agree.
This is the problem. So I'm blaming it on the media. We can do that, but again, and again, it's the family. It's what the family does that makes a difference in the lives of our children. If you have that child, and that child's not the most precious thing to you, I can assure you that child would not be the most precious thing to itself. It's not going to happen. You got to let them know they're valued, and they grow up with that in mind. That's how these white people look at what's going on with Kavanaugh. All them rich kids going to them private schools up there, drinking beer through their anus. Doing all kinds of crazy things, pulling trains on girls. I mean, these are all alleged, they say, but it doesn't matter. This is how they do, and this is why I'm just like, I'm looking at the two worlds that we live in, and then in our children, when they're born, we put our foot. Some of them put our foot on their necks. Especially the boys. The boys, I see it even in the schools. The boys can't get a break. They can't. And some of the women teachers treat them little boys like they left them at the altar. It's just sad the way we talk to them. Even in the house, women mad at some man, they mad at the boy's daddy. And you're going to be just like your daddy. Well, baby, keep talking to him like that. And you're going to get just what you're speaking of. It becomes
a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. And until this is so, I'm sorry. I hear you. But I tell you, Leo, we got to realize what the problem is. The doctor can't heal you till he knows what's wrong with you. And the symptoms of us are we need to rethink the way we're raising our children. Carlos, hold on, Leo. I know you don't have a lot of time. I'd love to hear what Carlos has to say. Carlos, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment, sir? Carlos? Oh, I missed the button. 2. Carlos? Oh, I don't know where Jason is. Hello? He's Carlos. I'm trying to hit him. Is he still there? Why can't? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, I should be. Carlos? It's not. It's green, but it's not showing up, Jay. I don't know what the problem is. He hung up. Call back, Carlos. I couldn't get you on. 410-481-1010. We need to talk, you all. Some of you won't call because you say, well, that's none of your business. Okay. You can take that attitude. But then we're wondering why our children are killing each other. We're wondering why they aren't doing exceptional in school. When Carl Sagan said that 90% of all black children are born geniuses, but we beat it out of them. We discourage them. We don't love them. I know. You won't call in. You don't want to your voice here maybe. But when are we going to stand up and be one? When are we going to stand up and talk about what the disease is? Leo, you had a wonderful idea this morning. You were talking about the need for vocational training. And I agree with you 100%. Everybody
more of it, much more.
Much more of it. You talked about doing a campaign where it comes to fore. And I'm with you 100%. But I believe that our children can do anything that they are encouraged to do. And we have to put it in them in seeds before puberty. I might not live to see it, but I see the results in my kids every year. Every year I have 2 semesters with them. They come back that next year. I can see the change in them happening instantly. Well, because they know they can come and talk to me, and I'm not going to stay mad at them for something they did yesterday. I'm going to forgive them. I'm going to love them. I'm going to encourage them. I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to talk to their parents and let their parents know the gifts and the attributes of their children. I had a little boy, and I see y'all lighting up the phones. Come on. Had a little boy last year in this past summer school. This little boy was a little terror. He'd walk in the cafeteria for lunch, and man, he'd rip from the time he got there till the time he left. They brought him to put him in my music program, and I couldn't believe he was like a little sponge on that music. He was reading music in 3 days. So I saw his parents, and his mother came in there, and man, I could tell where he got it from. She was hollering, "Ooh, it's too much noise in there." She was screaming at the kids like they had stole a government mule. Okay, but then she came to my class one day with her son, and she watched him play, and she stood there and started crying. I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "He can play a piano." I said, "Look like it to me, sound like it to me." She said, "Oh," and she grabbed him and hugged him. She came back the next day with her husband because she wanted him to see that little boy that they had written off with so much potential, so much life, the smile on his face when he got through playing. We don't understand that if children know they are valued, if we let them know that we appreciate and love them, they will do what they're supposed to do. But we got to do what we're supposed to do because we're their caretakers.
We have to nurture them.
We have to nurture them, and you're great at this because you had your roots of scouting for years, and you do this all the time. But when do we as a community do that? And I assure you that if we did it to our children, we would do it more to each other. Carlos, bless your heart, brother. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Brother, I say amen. Amen to what you said. It's a hard reality, but many of our young children are angry.
Yes, and
we have to figure out a way to deal with that anger. And I spoke to you many months ago about the gunpowder effect. You know how to make a dog mean, you put a little gunpowder in.
Yes, sir. I'm from the South. Trust me, I know. I know that.
And a lot of our children have had that gunpowder
constantly.
Effect. Yeah, but what I want to say is that I think we have to say, first of all, that it's a many-faceted problem. But the problem has to start at the top. And I hate to say this, but I don't think our current mayor is up to the task.
I don't either. I'm starting to think more and more each day, and I hear people trying to, like Senator Young this morning was saying, well, they kind of messed up that youth fund thing. A lot of the people that should have got it, but Larry and his patient self said, well, she'll do better next year.
Well, what I'm thinking that a strong mayor is able to articulate with the streets, and who has the blood of the people in his or her veins. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that they used to have deputy mayors, and I don't know whether this is within the budget, but you send these deputy mayors out to different communities.
Under shepherds,
and to work with the community associations, which sometimes they're closer to the issues and the family problems in our community, particularly the single mothers and the single children, and so and the mothers who have these
well,
children.
I agree with you, but what do you do when the mayor lives next door to you and you should talk to her and you explain things to her? Like I see Richard Terry's on the phone. I'm glad to see him on. I've talked to them about the auxiliary police department that we need here in the city. And you got Richard Terry, the guy who headed the operation up years ago, and it was tremendously successful. And nobody is doing anything. They won't even return calls. They don't even. And so you talk about deputy mayor. She's got these people that Tony White, I believe, is supposed to be the community liaison, and they say, oh, they're real nice when you talk to them, but nothing ever happens. And that's the part that is making that is so discouraging, because you know we vote for them and we expect them to take care of the city in a way that is broad and it is helpful to everyone. But we're seeing nothing. We are seeing I was talking to Leo. Leo, are you still there? I was talking about.
Yes, I'm listening.
I was talking to the mayor about they need $200,000 to put water filtering systems in the schools so the kids can drink from the. But
they put $500,000 into a parade.
But no, wait a minute. Yes, sir, they did that. But the part that breaks my brain is $2.6 million to house 6 horses.
Yeah.
2.6, but she can't find money to put. See, I'm wondering, where are your priorities? Our kids need. I'm telling y'all, they use water. Some of the teachers, in trying to do disciplinary things, they use water as a tool. If the kid hasn't been acting up and the kid wants some water, they won't give him water. They say, no, you can't have. That's not right, man. I don't care. Sometimes I just walk away. Sometimes I speak up and say, how dare you? Give that kid some water. What are you talking about?
The priorities are public relations.
Yeah.
Well, not good ones.
Yeah, well,
they're not good ones, but they're playing to the gallery.
Go ahead. Go. Yes, sir, Leo. Go ahead, Carlos.
I'll just make a quick comment. I had a member of my family who went into the police department many years ago as a police cadet. He came right from high school, and they trained him as a cadet, and he had a fulfilling career with the Baltimore City Police Department. They had officer-friendly patrol in the streets, what they call community policing and so forth. So until we have a mayor who is going to rededicate herself to getting to the grassroots of the community, the poor communities, those divisive communities, written in Daniel Radcliffe's piece about who cares about murder in Baltimore, maybe she doesn't have the Baltimore roots or the street smarts to do it. But I think it has to start from the top. I thank you for your time.
I thank you for your time, too. But I'm still wondering, how in the world can a policeman make more money than the mayor? Can somebody explain that to me? That's
overtime.
That's what it is. Overtime. But then we're number one, most violent city in the nation, and we got the highest paid and all this overtime. Why do you continue to pay people that you're not getting results from? Anybody else would get fired.
Triple overtime for some officers. Wow. They're so tired of making money that they can't perform their duties because they've worked 16 and 18-hour days, and they can't function as police, but they're collecting money.
Well, they're not doing their jobs.
Money. Hell, if you work too many hours a day, you cannot responsibly do your job as a police officer because you don't have the. You just don't have the physicality.
Yes.
You're not physically able to do your job, but you are collecting money.
Right, and that seems to be the object of their desire. Robert, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
Yeah, I have. Listen, man. It's slowly but surely, it has been for years, turning into a police state.
Yes, sir.
And this is what they're doing, taking the major part of the budget, and they're keeping it for themselves. Mm-hmm. And listen, I called here. I don't know what show I called last week. They did not start this citizen, taking the citizenship away from our kids and myself. Until Alice Penderhuge got into that, became president of the city schools as a rolling Patterson. And they were determined that there'll be no more black males that's going to rise up against their agenda that they had for Obama public schools. And Roland Patterson had them by the tail.
What was his name? Roland Patterson?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And the males, we had black males in school at the time. And these people who went to Morgan and all the rest of the colleges, and they made statements to us when we was in school that they got ours and they got theirs and we have ours to get.
Yes, sir.
And these kind of the statements that was given said to us. Okay?
Yes.
But now you see the results.
Yes, sir. Yes,
of
sir.
them turning their back on us.
Yes,
and
sir.
not really leading and guiding us as to where we had to go. And they allowed the infrastructure and Mr. Soham and all of them of the Greater Baltimore Committee, the old ones, to strip the students and the citizenship of the black community of their citizenship. Dr. Jesse McDade was talking about it for years, about how put all kind of slack on hack from the powers that be, the Black Blues OG. They got all on his case, and that's that's one of the reasons why he didn't get his censorship over there in Morgan. Because he was already on top of these quasi-public corporations that was going to come in here and run the city. And that's exactly what's happened. And now they got a foothold. They got the mayor. They got the president. And they got all of them moving on their demands, on their whims.
On their demands and whims.
Yes, this is why we can't get them done.
Listen, thank you so much, man. This is, my mother used to call it the invisible hand down there in Texas. I agree with you. In fact, what's his name, Mr. Patella? He has a new book out. Antario Patella, the guy that wrote, what was it, Not in My Neighborhood? He has a new book on the history of John Hopkins. And I tell you, I can't put it down. He sent us the galleys of the book so we can start reading it. And we can't wait to get him to talk about not only do you know what you're talking about, it is documented what you say. Thank you so much, sir, for your call.
Patrick?
Yes. Leo?
Yeah, I just want to say at some point, we can revisit Dr. Roland Patterson Sr. Was one of the great superintendents of Baltimore City Public Schools. But when he started talking about forging a positive identity and academic excellence for black children, he was forced out he was forced out of the position as superintendent of the Baltimore City Public Schools. The finger pointing was such that they used the House Negroes against him, and the white establishment aligned against him because they said he was too radical to retain his position, which was not the case. He was a hell of a positive, tremendous role model.
How long ago was this? How long ago was? Well, do you remember? How long ago?
I don't want to. I was going to say the 80s, but
is he still living?
No, he's not.
Okay.
He's not. Roland Patterson Sr. But let's look at that again. We can do the research.
Yes, well, I want to get that.
Future discussions, I want him brought up.
Yes, sir.
And made part of the equation.
Yes, we will do it. Wendell, welcome. Yeah, all right, you're going to bye, Leo. I'll talk to you soon. Be well. Have a great day. Wendell, could you drop Leo for me? Because I don't want to hear that line clicking. Thank you. Wendell, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment? Wendell? Again, I have the green light, and I hit 4. Wendell, there we go.
Wrong, Patrick.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it's Richard Terry. Wendell, call back. Hi, Richard. How are you?
I'm doing reasonably well, sir.
Well, thank you for calling in. I heard you this morning. And where are we, Richard?
Let's start off with the communities as a whole have changed over the decades. In the beginning, everybody knew everybody in the community. I could go 3 streets over from where I live and somebody knew my parents. So if I did something crazy out of the way, my parents would know it before I got home. And even the parents on the other side where I was able to chastise me and correct me before I even got where neighbors are, or he will even talking to their next door neighbor. Who's in your block or even your next door neighbor, how can you expect them to do anything else? 2, many neighborhoods, I hate to put it this way, are under siege and are held hostage by the forces that are around them. Many times, individual communities and start and move everything to a positive direction, block by block, street by street. And that's the only way you can do it in order to bring some sort of change around. I heard somebody mention the cadet program.
Uh-huh.
That program was in place for up until maybe the 90s, and then the department killed it. And it was run out of Baltimore City Community College. In fact, it was run out of the program that I was the program coordinator of. So I know it quite well.
Yes, I know you do, Richard.
And so, there was a lot of things that worked over the years.
But Richard, I got to ask you right here, and so I appreciate your brilliant mind.
I'm not that good.
No, you're rare. You're rare. You really are. You write so well, also. But the one thing that I was speaking with Leo this morning. He's gone now. That time period you're talking about, where there was this homogeneity, this homogenous sort of environment in the city. These were the early onset of the lead poisoning.
Yes.
And so it wasn't as bad. It is a progressive disease that damages the brains. So it was earlier on, so things were more normal. Nobody ever talks about the ravaging effects of lead poisoning.
Well, Patrick, if you remember, maybe about 10 years or more ago, there was a lawsuit that was brought against the city with respect to
Yes, I know.
Because I knew one of the attorneys that helped work on that for years.
Right.
In fact, I used to work for him. He was my mentor at the University of Maryland Law School.
Okay.
And he talked about it constantly, and that's how the lawsuit began. And what happened was the city was held at fault, but yet did the city pay up to cover damages or anything else? No.
Who paid? The landlords? Who paid? Who ended up paying? Somebody paid. A lot of people got paid.
A lot of people got paid, but still the city didn't pay their share of it, I don't think. And that even caused an uproar because the city said, we can't do it. We don't have the money to do it, if I remember correctly.
Well, but then they went in and they put in
liens against a few of the property.
The property, but they also, on top of that, they supposedly to get rid of it, they put these inspectors to go out. But I've gone to people's houses and I see them in children. And I see peeling paint in their houses.
Yeah,
it's still going on. That's my thing.
Of those older row houses, yes.
Yes. So there hasn't been the conscious effort that it is. I wonder if you can find lead paint up in Roland Park.
I doubt it.
See, this is what we need to look at, and that's what Leo was talking about. It's Carlos. Everybody is talking about. The gentleman that called, I don't remember his name, who was talking about what I often speak of as that invisible hand. And then Leo just gave us sort of the chronology of the Mr. Patterson.
I remember Roland Patterson. In fact, I know his son. I've been working with his son on some other projects.
Really, I'd love to meet him, and in fact, we want to get the information and talk to him about it. But when Leo said that there was the black bourgeoisie who came in and sided with the anti-people.
You have to understand, Baltimore City public school system has had these problems for decades. It's been very paternalistic and fraternalistic.
How do people let this happen? Is it that we don't value our children? We don't value their education? How do we let this happen? They burned down the city when they killed Martin Luther King, but we say nothing when they poison our children. What the?
It's what club you belong to. I hate to put it in this fashion. And a lot of times what happens in other places.
That's true. I have to admit.
Pat
yes.
and Richard, another concern that I have
Turn
is
your mic up.
I truly have an issue with the water because, again, I had a complaint this weekend from one of the community activists that were talking about St. Agnes Hospital.
Or as it's known, St. Agony.
What was it? Legionnaires.
Yes.
That was detected within their water.
Yes.
And there's really nobody to report what's going on with the water system, especially in the city. And I really feel that we may have some of the same issues that we see in Detroit here in Baltimore City, but there's nobody other than the EPA to really expose whether or not our water is safe or not, and they're not really to be trusted.
See that? You mean what happened up in Flint, Michigan?
Yes, right. We're having the same issues here, some of the same issues here. And I agree with them that, in fact, my friend's girl had a baby, and she was in the hospital there, and they couldn't told them nobody to drink the water. They couldn't even use the water for surgeries or nothing because it was Legionnaires, they thought.
Wouldn't that come out of the state?
Well, I don't know. But did you hear about it on the air?
I haven't heard a word.
I announced it because my friend's girl was in the hospital, and he called me and told me, "Hey, Pat, don't drink the water. Don't bathe in the water because they're saying down here that the sewage is leaked into the main system and the water is contaminated."
And the hospital did give a statement. They did issue out a statement that it was something within their water system, within their water treatment system. But again, unless somebody identifies that there is an issue or a health hazard to the community, there's nobody there other than the EPA, and we would hope the people from within the water department to tell us that everything is safe.
Man, y'all think we...
in other words, you're talking DPW. Again, you're talking DPW, and I wouldn't trust DPW further than I can throw the Empire State Building.
Well, we were talking about Dr. Lena Wynn. She's gone now.
Right, that's the health department.
Yeah, that was the health department, but she's gone now. We're going to miss her. I can promise you we're going to miss her. Richard, well, thank you. What can I say? Thank you so much, and I'm going to call you. I'll tell you about it. You be well, though. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you so much for calling.
Take care, sir.
You too. Bye-bye. Here we got Smitty on line one. Smitty, we got a break?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Patrick.
Hold on, Smitty. Hold on.
The new 1010 WOLB with talk in the day and soul at night.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, the IRS just hired 4 giant private collection agencies to track down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now, before it's too late. Optima works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collection agencies from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $500 million in tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-799-0977. 800-799-0977. 800-799-0977.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
What's up? It's your boy DJ Duke.
DJ Keys.
DJ Knowledge.
Catch us live, the DJ Booth Radio Show, each and every Wednesday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. live on WOLB 1010 AM radio. Live interviews, artist spotlight, trending topics, shop talk. What's up, Knowledge? What's up?
Go.
Keys.
Let's get it.
Hey, Keys. This week's special guest, Ashley T. Moore, 11 Hip Hop, in the building, live, tuning in. Listen, also, I got Young Easy, Soul Raspy Records on. He got his new mixtape out called The Resurrection 2. We're going to talk about it. Also, my guy, White Boy Frazier, in the building to talk about his new mixtape called White Magic. So make sure y'all tune in. Download the app, WOLB Radio app. Download. Also streaming live from WOLBBaltimore.com, the DJ Booth Radio Show.
1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
Welcome back to it. That's an interesting commercial. Isn't these new personalities coming on the air? Sound like young people is a good thing. We're going to go back to Smitty. Smitty, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
I have a question. I want to thank you first for taking my call. One of the things I want to ask you, Patrick, is that why do Baltimore, we vote for our friends instead of voting for conditions that we need people to take care. The guy, Richard, that was on, he clearly broke it down.
Always.
Most of the things that happen in the city that has been a holdback is we don't look at the people's records. We vote on people because they're nice or they live next door to us or they're around the corner from us. And this is why Baltimore can't move on.
They're charming. They charm us. They charm us to get to vote for them. And then they get in this, what do they call it, old bait and switch? Is that what you're talking about?
We had Legionnaire disease, this Legionnaire disease in water. We had that at Stadium Place. Stadium is a brand new senior citizen place that was built over there where the old stadium used to be, Memorial Stadium. And finally I saw that they had this same type of stuff in the water there. What is going on with us? Nobody cares. Patrick, you're out here day to day fighting by yourself, and you see no one comes to help. You live next door to the mayor, and the mayor won't even come and take control over the community to say that these problems existing in our community. It's time for them to have a resolution for it. How can we have all these educated people and we get no results?
I can tell you how. My mama had a word for them. She called them educated fools. They got a piece of paper and they feel like they know everything and they know nothing. They know that piece of paper and all the rote things that they've learned in school. But just common sense is just not common to all. I can't believe I was listening to a message the other day by Bill Gates. And he talked about he doesn't think he's the smartest person. In fact, he didn't even finish college. He went to college, but he didn't finish college. But the one thing he learned as an entrepreneur and as a businessman, you hire people that are smarter than you and you listen to them. Okay? You listen to them. So unless there's some sort of invisible hand, which people are starting to understand here in Baltimore, somebody else is running this city. It's obviously not the mayor because I think she's much brighter than some of the actions I'm seeing taken. Where's the Civilian Review Board? Why is that even debatable? Why?
Well, my question would be to you is that the mayor's not running the city, then it looks like no mayor that we have is actually running the city, because I go all the way back to Kurt Smoke, and Baltimore City never gotten anything out of him even being elected to the mayor. The city started going down and down and down. And now all I see is more destruction just coming our way, and we haven't gotten anything for it. How can we let a whole community of people, no new development, no new growth, and we expect for these people to be better people? Look at Sandtown. I was a young boy in Sandtown. I was born and raised in Sandtown. Nothing has changed in there, and we expect for people to be responsible. No new development, no new housing, no new nothing for our people. How do we expect us to get out of the epitome conditions that we see day by day by day, and nothing new comes our way?
Thank you, Smitty. I agree with you, but you got to understand, man, I did a survey of my kids this past summer, 22 children, and the survey was about bullying. And I asked them how many felt as though they were bullied at home and who bullied them, right? I asked them if their parents bullied them. 100% said no. I asked them if they'd ever been bullied in school by teachers. They said no. It has become such a norm within us that we don't even understand what it is when we do it to each other. When you telling your child, I'm going to break your leg if you don't do this, so I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Get your little, that's bullying. Whether a teacher does it or whether a parent does it, so then the kid can't say nothing because he's a kid. So who is he going to take it out on? His peers and the teachers in the school is trying to teach him something. Wendell, thank you for holding. Patrick Henderson, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment, sir?
Yes, I just have a comment. Yeah, I was talking about, John Henry Clark. He said that we came out of a sharing and caring society.
Yes.
Yeah, where the society cared about its people, man. Like y'all talking about the village concept.
Uh-huh.
And, and how it's, I be just listening to your show, and I live here in Baltimore, but I'm not from here.
Uh-huh.
But I see stuff all the time,
Bet you do.
I see it, man.
Yes,
I see it all the time.
You'd have to.
Riding up
And
there.
I'm not even going to say you got to be blind not to, because Richard Terry does not have sight, and he sees so much more than so many of us, and he does not have sight. So blindness has nothing to do with. All you got to do is live here and pay attention. So Wendell, you're absolutely right.
That's all I want to share with you.
Bless you, my brother. Key, but you know what I'm going to tell you, Wendell? I don't know, how old are you? Do you mind me asking?
I'm 50. I'm 68. 68 years old.
Well, you're just a year younger than me. I tell you what, if you can't, right in your block, if it's some kids out there, go to Goodwill. You can get books 10 cents a piece. Start a little book club on your block. Just let them sit on the stoop and read to you and help them with their reading. Let them know somebody cares. I'm telling you, just one person in their lives caring about them changes everything. And we always looking for all these big hoopla things. We need the city to do this. We need the city to do that. All we need is us. All we need to do is sit down and say, come here, y'all. Come over here. I got some popsicles. We're going to have a little reading club. Just do something to let them know you care. And I tell you, we can start to change this. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Sorry to be so emotional.
Say one more thing here.
Yes, sir.
Like I was listening on Maya Angelou. She had this statement: the more you know of your history, the more liberated you are.
Yes.
See,
and it's true.
That's what I'm talking about. The more you know, the more we know of our history.
Yes.
As a people, as African people.
Yes,
the
sir.
more liberated we are.
But you know what? And I'm gonna let you go on this one. I was just reading last night about the Chinese, and so these great doctors over there in China were trying to prove that they didn't come from the African, that they were a Mongoloid race, and they couldn't be traced to Africa, but they got up off in that DNA. And when they checked that DNA, it's the same link to everybody else in the world, Africa.
Yeah,
Africa.
We are an African.
Man, everybody is an African. They don't want to admit it. Because they excoriated us, put us down. But we invented civilization, and when we realize who we are, as you say, and our children realize who they are, our lives will change. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate for your call. 410-481-1010. Willie, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment? Willie? Willie? I think I've got it. Oh, that's 3. Hold on. Willie, are you there? I'm not hearing him.
You got him in, but he's not answering. He must have dropped. You got him, though.
Okay. Willie? 1, 2, 3. All right, hang him up, and hopefully he'll call back. Willie, call us back, will you?
Go ahead and hit the button for 3.
Okay. Willie? Okay. No, he's not there. Please. Okay. Okay, we're going to go to Glord. Welcome to Patrick. How do you spell it? What do you pronounce it?
Good morning, sir. How's everything going?
Man, I'm sitting here, I'm a crybaby, I
understand.
Man, our babies, man, we always looking for somebody else to do what we can do,
We can't give up on them, and I never give up on them.
No,
I know the problem that they have and what caused them to be the way they are.
Yes, sir.
I was born in Sandtown, Winchester, and I think I got you and Leo by some years. I'm like 77. I was born right there on Fremont and Wrigley Avenue, so in the heart of Sandtown. So I know what the deal is. And speaking of those homes that was mentioned, and I told I called Miss Mary Pat Clark to let her know those dollar houses, because I'm an ex-contractor as well. Those dollar homes, those are good things then, but those houses has a lot of asbestos and lead them. They need to be torn down. They need to be torn down, because I remember through the years when the Jewish people used to give us paint to paint those buildings, you would have to paint them 10 times, and it still looked like the same.
Wow.
But the paint itself, nowadays, all you need is one coat. But they need to be torn down.
But tell me this, and now I hear you. But what would happen if the city just went in and demolished the interiors, and we were able to keep the motif in the architecture, to keep the charm of this? Baltimore's a beautiful city.
Exactly.
But what if they just went in the city, just said, well, we're going to gut all of these buildings, contractors, people come in, we'll give them to you at a so-and-so, and we'll give you a 203 whatever loan to fix it up and make that your mortgage. What if they did, instead of tearing them down, these these beautifully with Pallister and the architecture and stuff that is the charm of Baltimore. Why tear them down?
But they need to gut them out because you have a lot of asbestos and lead.
Yes, sir. I agree with that. Yes, sir.
And mold.
Yes,
and mold
sir.
all in the building, and that's a serious problem. But my thing is, in my community, because I'm a community person, when the mayors just come up there and tear school buildings down, and the first thing, the argument they use, say, well, there's less students, and then we have to tear it down. But I've been to Board of Education meetings on North Avenue and say, look, instead of tearing these schools down, they need to get the role model like we had in Dundalk. We had a shop. The girls learned how to sew. They learned how to cook.
Home economics.
Right, so but in these schools now, they just tear them down because they don't want to educate our kids. And that is the key to turning this problem around, is to educate our kids.
And you know what? And you're absolutely right. But see, I'm telling you, some of these schools want to do it, but they cannot do it without the parents' help.
Exactly.
The parent has got to be in there. You don't realize the power that you have over that principal in the school. I ain't talking about going in and being ghetto Mary. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about going in and finding out why your children, what you need to do with your child, getting in with the PTO organization, working with it with other parents, becoming friends with your children's friends. There's so much we can do, but the thing of it is we're so encumbered by every weight that we forget the most valuable asset that God has given us is our children. Because go ahead, I'm listening.
No, I'm sorry, but a lot of parents is really out of touch.
Yes.
So until they come back to reality and realize, about taking the village, and we know what the problem is. Yes. And I don't even want to dwell on it because we can write a book.
Thank you, Lord. We got some calls. I want to talk to this man right here. David Anthony Wiggins, how are you, sir?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Well, I tell you, I'm gonna do if I don't, as they say in the South. I'm here and thankful for another day. How might we entreat you today, sir?
Well, I've been listening to the radio for the better part of the morning, and I've heard the lament and the hue and the cry, and I just wanted to say that some of these things can be fixed. Some of them is going to take time to fix. Like, you have parents in the home, and they're making, like someone said earlier, they're making less than $20,000. They're making less than $30,000. They're underneath the 26,000 poverty rate,
yes,
and they're working, and they have more than one child, and they can't afford daycare, and they can't afford, we have to have jobs, as Frank Conaway used to say in this city, but we don't have jobs. We went from manufacturing to a service-based economy in this city, and in the construction industry, we imported illegal aliens into this city. So the trades, you don't see black carpenters on the jobs. You don't see black iron workers. You don't see black electricians and plumbers and glazers on many of these construction sites. Now, besides profession, I have a trade. I'm an iron worker by trade. I'm a paralegal by profession. This is what my family did. This is what my parents did for us. We had books in the library, and I was fortunate as a child to have these things, but you were talking about, what's his name? Roland Patterson. He was the superintendent from 1971 to I think like 1975. And he was a good superintendent, and they got rid of him, and they brought in this guy, Dr. John Crew. And the brother that said that we were being told we have ours, that's true. We were told these things. And you had to get yours. And if you didn't get yours, you would be but out on the street. So some of it has to deal with the individual, but everybody's not college bound.
Right.
They took civics out of school in the 80s. They took the vocational training. They closed Samuel Gumper's, and they have Carver now. But also, in 1974, my first job was with the Baltimore Department of Recreation under Miss Nellie Handwright at Dewey's Rec Center. And we worked during the summer, and after the summer, they would let you work after school for, so many hours.
Yes.
We had that. The city had that. We had more than 300 recreation centers in this city. And now we have, 30?
Yes.
We have 30 recreation centers.
Yes. You know what? I wanted to and I'm so glad I wanted you to call because I wanted to talk to you about Sheriff Anderson. He was the topic of discussion this morning, and you've been saying this for years now. The Sheriff's Department is not only underused, but not really have a clue of what their possibilities are. You talk about it all the time. In fact, you're running for sheriff, if I'm correct. Is it still on? Are you still running for sheriff?
Yes, I'm still running.
So you're on the ballot for November.
Still on the ballot.
Okay.
And you're absolutely right. There is no reason why the Sheriff's Department should be underfunded. $47 million for overtime could expand the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff could engage, and this has been one of the central planks in our campaign.
Yes, it has.
It's this. Community peacekeeping.
Yes.
The Sheriff can deputize any able, willing-bodied person, any group that wants to patrol their community and keep the peace. That is his constitutional duty, is to keep the peace. This is the proactive policing. This is proactive constitutional law enforcement, where the sheriff comes out, and if you're the head of a neighborhood association, or you're your block captain like we used to have, and you want, he can deputize you.
Yeah, listen, David. I'm glad you called. I'm sorry, there some other calls, but you're absolutely right. David Anthony Wiggins is running for sheriff. Man, it would be a coup d'etat if you won.
The sheriff could have the audits that everybody wants. He could go to the comptroller and demand an audit of the city.
What?
The sheriff is responsible for enforcing the Maryland Declaration of Rights and COMAR on the city.
Wow. Thanks, David. I'm sorry I had to cut you off. I got a couple more calls. I'm going to try to get them. We're going to have you on. But David Anthony Wiggins is running for sheriff. You might consider him. Willie, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Yeah, Pat, good morning. Good. And that old, I don't know if you call it cliche, but the old saying that they came for the Chinese and I didn't say nothing, they came for, well, that's what's going on up in Ashburton. They came for the lower part of our community. They came for the poor part of our community. Ashburton didn't say anything. Now they came after Ashburton. They came up there and bullied those people. Didn't even give them any heads up on what they were doing with that project over on Hilton and Liberty.
But they didn't me to more after that first meeting. I went to the meeting. Rhonda Winbush, we went to the meeting, the first one they had, but then they saw we were going to be trouble. They didn't invite us anymore to them. We tried to stop it. We didn't want to stop. We wanted to know what they were going to do, what was going to be the aesthetic, knowing that there was a problem with they thought the water could have been a terrorist threat because the water was an open well. So
come on, man, that's ridiculous.
Well, I think so in Baltimore. They don't normally terrorize us, do they? Now,
Pat, when they came up in Ashburton and started bullying y'all, I said to myself, they'll do anything to the rest of us, because that's where all the bougies and the supposed to be the power brokers and all live.
The mayor lives
and
here.
If they're rolling over, if these people up in your neighborhood are rolling over, then it's Katie by the door.
Wow.
The grassroots people ain't gonna stand up because they get their little checks every month and so on and so forth.
Well, I'm telling you,
people know us, man.
They not only, but you don't think that the open water, you don't think that was an issue? You think they was faking out?
No, I don't think that. Do you know anywhere else in the country that they're doing that? Have you heard about that anywhere else about a terrorist in the open water? Don't that water that's open like it is, doesn't that run through a filter before it gets to us?
Yeah, of course it does. But then just to think that
don't they check that water before it even runs through the filter?
You would think that, yes, you would think, right.
So how would the terrorists be able to do that?
Well, I don't know, but Willie, listen, call back. We want to talk about it, but I'm telling you what.
Hey, Pat, the next time you have a meeting, could you put it on the air, please?
Well, yeah, for Ashburton?
Yeah.
Man, listen, yes. Just a word. Not only do you got that, but you all can come on the show. I want you to come up in the room, up in the house, and talk to the people, because your analogy is definitely interesting when we see what is happening in Ashburton. Real estate's going up. Yes, and we're going to do more coverage of it. Okay, thank you, sir. We got Sandra. Sandra, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment?
Thank you. I have a comment.
Come forth.
And I've been listening to the show. It's been really wonderful. You've got some of our real community warriors there today, and I'm grateful to hear them. I preside here in Northwest Baltimore, the area you were just talking about. I'm actually in Hanlon.
Oh, great.
Which is right next to Ashburton.
Yes, ma'am.
And what we have done at this point, and actually working diligently for the last 3 to 4 years, we've coordinated a coalition called the Northwest Public Safety Alliance. And we have reached out to the neighborhood associations, in our vicinity to address all of these issues. And as was stated previously, we are not getting appropriate response from our so-called leaders. So when we're talking about the mayor and the city council, and I mean the conversation has just gone on about about the shortfalls that are there, and so I felt I felt the need to just call in.
I appreciate it so much.
To say that we are here. There are concerned, caring, hardworking, dedicated homeowners, tax-paying citizens. And we are here, and we are trying, but we are not getting proper response when we coordinate ourselves and try to present to the so-called leaders. So I just with the last phone call regarding what's happening in Ashburton, if I may, I would like to just publicize that the Hanlon Improvement Association community monthly meeting. The next one is occurring on Monday, October the 22nd. We meet at Hilton Elementary School at 6 p.m. And I would invite anyone who is listening. You don't have to be in our particular area, because we know that this is a citywide situation. We need to do something about the lack of leadership. And so I thank you for this opportunity.
Hold on. Now, give me that again. That's Hanlon Park.
Hanlon Improvement Association.
Oh, okay. Hanlon Improve. Oh, okay.
We meet the fourth Monday of each month.
Okay.
And so for October, our next meeting is Monday, October the 22nd at 6 p.m.
Okay.
We meet at Hilton Elementary.
Okay.
Which is 3201 Carlisle Avenue.
Okay.
To 1216.
Okay.
Open invitation. Community, please come out. Mr. Leo Barrows, we welcome you. I heard Richard Terry on the line. And
yes, ma'am.
And if the brother that's running for sheriff, Brother Williams, could come and be part of this.
All right.
Because we have a very serious situation, particularly with the youth and the squeegee thing.
Yeah.
But all things entail.
Okay. Now give me the name of the school. Give me the school again. What was the name of it?
The school we're meeting at is Hilton Elementary.
Okay, Hilton Elementary. I'm writing this in my address book, in my appointment book. Hilton Elementary.
3201 Carlisle Avenue. It's right off of Hilton Street.
Yes, ma'am. I know exactly where it is. You all want to know what's going on? You want the 411? She invited David Anthony Wiggins. She's inviting the community to come out and get involved. She is saying what we have been saying. Where are our city leaders, even though they live in the community? The part that kind of surprises me is that they seem to be a little lax, considering that Ashburton is one of the highest voting, and Hanlon Park one of the highest voting zip codes in the city. So, and the mayor lives right there, so I'm kind of surprised, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised, because there's obviously something else going on. But we are going to come together. We are together. I work with the Dolefield Community Consolidated Trust and Ashburton and stuff. So but we've got to get in there and fight and do what we want to do and what we need to do, because this is our community. And unless we stand up for it, and I don't know why these people are asleep at the wheel, but we will remember in November.
We need to move them out. So thank you so very much.
You're very. Give me your name one more time, sweetheart.
My name is Sandra.
Sandra
Spears.
Sandra
Yes.
Spears. Got you, Miss Spears. God bless. Have a great day. Thank you so much for your call.
All right.
Very good. Bye-bye. Ah, man, it's been quite a day. We've learned so much, haven't we? The one thing that I hope that we've learned on people to do what we can do. We have so much power in our hands. I was laughing. I was reading about somebody had gone to Africa, and the caption of it, the film or clip or whatever it was, the Africa that they never show you on the news, and all these beautiful buildings, skyscrapers, and just thriving, look like cities. And I go, oh, isn't that cute? That's so wonderful. Now, why did maybe all the Africans go back there and make their land a great land? I don't mean that to be a put down. We have got to realize that America is really an incredible place to live. There's so many opportunities. There's so many ways to not only prosper here in this nation, but we can't do anything unless we reach our children and our families. That's the power of our people, of all people. It is the family. And when we understand the way we talk to each other dictates outcomes. When we don't validate our children, when we're not validated, we're like lost because we're looking, trying to find a place to find love. Love is the missing element. You have been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Please join us this coming Sunday at 3:30 on Spirit, and join us next Monday back here at 11:30 on WLB Baltimore. Say goodbye, Jay. Thank you for Extra Show.
Love you, family. Do something special for someone other than yourself.
God bless. Have a great week. We'll speak with you on Sunday. Bye-bye.
The new 1010 WOLB with Talk in the Day and Soul at Night.
What's up? It's your boy DJ Duke.
DJ Keish.
DJ Knowledge. Catch us live, the DJ Booth Radio Show, each and every Wednesday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. live on WOLB 1010 AM radio. Live interviews, artist spotlight, trending topic, shop talk. What's up, Knowledge? What's up?
Go.
Keys.
Let's get it.
Hey, Keys. This week's special guest, Ashley T. Moore, 11 Hip Hop, in the building, live, tuning in. Listen, also, I got Young Easy, Soul Raspberry Records on. He got a new mixtape out called The Resurrection 2. We're going to talk about it. Also, my guy, White Boy Fraser, in the building to talk about his new mixtape called White Magic. So make sure y'all tune in. Download the app, WOLB Radio app. Download. Also streaming live from WOLBBaltimore.com, the DJ Booth Radio Show.
A message from Lucy Liu, Lawrence Fishburne, Mia Farrow, and Whoopi Goldberg.
My name is Lucy Liu, and I believe in zero. 25,000 children die every day from preventable causes.
Like not getting enough food or medicine or clean, safe water to drink.
25,000 children every day.
They die because they're young and vulnerable.
They do not have to die, but they do.
They die because through no fault of their own, they are poor.
They die because they suffer in the shadows, their pain unseen by the rest of the world.
They do not have to die, but they do. 25,000 children.
25,000 children.
25,000 children every day.
My name is Lucy Liu, and I believe.
My name is Whoopi Goldberg, and I believe.
My name is Mia Farrow, and I believe.
My name is Lawrence Fishburne, and I believe that number should be 0. Believe in zero.
UNICEF invites you to join the effort. Visit IBelieveInZero.org.
What have you done for your marriage today? For every couple, it's a little different.
Well, I would like to say a hug and a kiss, but it was kind of hectic for us this morning.
We're going to the museums as a family.
I gave her a call and say thinking of her and the kids.
What have I done for my marriage today?
Yeah, I sent my husband a love email.
I think I've avoided all controversial things today.
Is that your answer?
That's pretty much it, yes.
While we're spending the day together, so that's good.
She works night and I work during the day, so spending the day together is actually pretty big.
Yeah.
I suppose I
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Still talking about that. All the weekend shows were dominated by that, and when you got up this morning, when you turned on the television or you popped on the radio, everybody was still talking about it. They heard Kavanaugh sort of kind of go political, blaming the Democrats and the Clintons and everything you can think of. But you have to ask yourself, well, if this is the case, how can he be an impartial jurist on the Supreme Court? By the way, speaking of the Supreme Court, it's the first Monday in October, and that means the opening session of the U.S. Supreme Court is underway right now. That's right, this new term of the U.S. Supreme Court is underway. A lot to talk about, who talked to who and who's doing what and everything else. I was talking about the partisanship of politics, and it's just really, really bad. Axios basically said for the White House, it's Kavanaugh or bust. That's what the Axios is reporting. You know that. By the way, Christine Blasey Ford, professor, has not been contacted by the FBI yet in the Kavanaugh investigation. They haven't even called her up. They haven't even talked to her. Come on, what's going on? Who are they talking to? It's just crazy what's going on. Now, a lot of insiders are saying, and there was a report that Senator Jeff Flake, who actually called for this FBI investigation, even though he voted yes for the Kavanaugh nomination. He got together with Chris Coons, and they said, well, okay, we're going to have an FBI investigation. Anyway, he says, if the FBI investigation finds Kavanaugh lied, then it's over. This is what he's saying now, of course, in the various different interviews. And by the way, one of the things you have to understand, and a lot of people are reporting on this, is that the White House is actually controlling the scope of this FBI probe. Like before, the professor hasn't been talked to yet. They haven't even said a word to her yet. And they're walking around talking about to other people. They talked to Deborah Ramirez. I talked to Mark Judge, who was in the room when this guy tried to attack. And but they have not contacted the main person. I guess maybe say, well, we don't need to talk to her anymore because we have more information than you can have. So stay tuned for that. According to reports, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford is not on the list. What the wide world of sports is going on around here? What's crazy? Come on. By the way, this was an interesting tweet this morning from former FBI Director James Comey. He says, it's idiotic to put a shot clock on the FBI probe of Kavanaugh. I agree, yes. What are you guys doing? 877-532-5790.